Hey guys, Sam here with Wooten HS Social Studies Honor Society. I'm making a video about the key terms of Unit 6, Civil Rights and Civil Liberties for AP NSL. So here goes. Difference between civil rights and civil liberties. Civil rights, government protects those rights, and then civil liberties are personal guarantees that cannot be abridged. Okay? Cannot be broken. First Amendment, freedom of speech, expression, the press, religion, assembly, petition. Impact of the 14th Amendment is due process of law, incorporate Bill of Rights into states. Selective incorporation. Only some amendments are incorporated into the states. Third Amendment, quartering soldiers. You probably did not need to know that one. Due process, protection from arbitrary or unjust laws. Establishment clause, federal government cannot establish national religion. Free exercise clause, people can practice the religion they want as long as it is not a safety issue. Prior restraint, withholding info from the public/press. That's something the president might do. Pentagon Papers, Nixon hides Pentagon Papers, which reveal that the ugly truth of the Vietnam War and that the war is not ending. So that's prior restraint becomes constitutional only on case-by-case basis. Libel is written untruthful statements that damage someone's reputation, and slander is spoken untruthful statements that damage someone's reputation. New York Times versus Sullivan must prove actual malice, so actual hate. Symbolic speech, protected form of speech from Tinker versus Demoers. Clear and present danger, Schenck versus U.S. If speech presents a clear and present danger, it is not protected. Obscenity and its definitions. Material in question has to be utterly without redeeming social importance. Miller lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Tinker, so symbolic speech is protected. The Lemon Test is secular purpose, advances religion. School religion cases, so Engel versus Vittel, Lemon versus Kurtzman. Wall between church and state, religion should not have anything to do with the government. Excuse me. Fourth Amendment, so that's the due process of law. Probable cause, frisking is allowed if they can see it or hear something, then they can do a search. So frisking's like a pat down. Search warrant provisions, get approval from a judge to be able to enter a domain, but only in search of things listed on the warrant. So if they see something that's not on the warrant, let's see, they're looking for a murder weapon, for example, but then they find drugs, illegal drugs, they can't take those illegal drugs unless they get a warrant for those illegal drugs. Mapp versus Ohio is the exclusionary rule. The exclusionary rule is illegally obtained evidence will not be counted toward the trial. The Fifth Amendment is the protection from self-incrimination, double jeopardy, eminent domain, grand jury indictment, self-incrimination, not knowing your rights under police interrogation. Eminent domain is government taking private property for public use. Miranda rights, Miranda versus Arizona, no self-incrimination. Eminent domain, an example of eminent domain, going back on that, is like the government will buy your house so they can build a freeway where your house is. They can build through there. Okay. And so the Sixth Amendment is the right to counsel, speedy trial, impartial jury, confront or obtain witnesses. Right to counsel is Gideon versus Wainwright. Gideon could not afford a lawyer. Gideon versus Wainwright is right to counsel, 6th Amendment. 8th Amendment is no cruel and unusual punishment. Capital punishment and its status in the states. Some have banned, others still use lethal injection. Right to privacy, 9th Amendment. Griswold versus Connecticut, that's contraceptives. So Roe v. Wade, right to privacy, abortions are legal in first trimester. Bill of Attainder, guilty without a trial, unconstitutional. Double jeopardy can't be put on trial for something more than okay. Double jeopardy is you can't be put on trial for something twice. Sedition is no slanderous writing against the government. Ex post facto law, arresting people for things that were not illegal in the past. Excuse me, that's 2 yards this one episode. Jury trials. Jury decides whether or not guilty. Criminal cases. Affirmative action, granting privileges and letting in people to colleges of minorities who may be slightly less qualified. Equal protection clause. Citizens get equal protection of laws. Dred Scott versus Sanford. Slaves are not citizens. Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but equal. Brown versus Board of Education, no more segregation, integrate schools. Swan v. Charlotte Mecklenburg, no de-jure discrimination, integrate schools. Civil rights movement, gain rights for blacks. Civil Rights Act of 1964, outlaw segregation in public facilities, EEOC. Suffrage, women's right to vote. 15th Amendment, right to vote for blacks. Poll tax, prevent blacks from voting. Grandfather clause, if people's grandfather voted, so could you. That limited a lot of African Americans from voting because a lot of African Americans' grandfathers did not vote. They were not able to because they were slaves. Jim Crow's laws, that's segregation. 24th Amendment, no more poll taxes or other taxes that prevent voting. Voting Rights Act of 1965 bans literacy tests. Federal officials count ballots, register people to vote. States cannot change voting procedure without federal permission. Next we have Korematsu versus the U.S. Japanese internment was constitutional. 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. Equal Rights Amendment never passed. Equality for women. It almost passed, but it didn't. Regents of University of California versus Bake. Affirmative action. Separate but equal doctrine. Plessy versus Ferguson. De jure segregation. Segregation by law. De facto segregation. Segregation by practice. NAACP is the interest group trying to further blacks' rights. And that concludes my Unit 6 review of all these different court cases. Thank you for listening. Next episode I'll be checking out Unit 5, Public Policy, Economic Policy, and Foreign Policy. Thank you for listening.